Hello, this is Matt Chapin, Commissioner of the Jerkstore Fantasy Football League, coming to you live from the Jerkstore home offices in Holt, Michigan. And we're here today to do our first annual draft lottery to determine the top 10 picks for the teams that didn't make the playoffs. And it's an exciting day for the league, as you can tell. As we pan around the room and look at our audience. Apparently, Prince is our only audience today, but he's pretty pumped to be witnessing this monumental occasion, right, Prince? Yes, he is psyched. Alright, a little bit of background here. The league rules last year were playoff positioning for teams that didn't make the playoffs was determined by how well you did in the toilet bowl. After some serious reflection about that in the off season, I decided that was a terrible idea because so many teams in the league and such a discrepancy between the top teams that didn't make the playoffs and the bottom teams really wasn't fair to teams like Sheehan or 007 who were just awful, and there was nothing they could do about it. Well, aside from drafting their teams a little bit better. But anyway, I decided to scrap that rule, and in thinking about how to do this, I decided on what's called a draft lottery. For those of you who follow the NBA, you know that the NBA follows a similar format when determining the draft order for teams that didn't make the playoffs. And how it's going to work is like this. The worst team, regular season-wise, in this case 007, will have the greatest chance at getting drawn in the lottery. So 007 has a 25% chance. The next worst team, which would be James Dickerson, has a 20% chance. And each team decreases in odds up to Duke, who was the best team to not make the playoffs, who will get a 1% chance. And the draft lottery works like this. Each team, well, in the NBA it's done with ping pong balls or whatever, but I wrote a program to do that. I figured if I'm going to be programming for a living, I might as well do some to help me out here at home, make the fantasy football league a little more exciting and easy for me. So I wrote a program that will randomly determine the top 3 picks based on these odds. And then after the top 3 picks, everyone else falls in order based on their draft or based on their record. So, for example, if 007, who has the worst record, is not one of the top 3 teams drawn in the lottery, the worst he would draft is 4th. And then Duke, on the other hand, because he had the best record and only has a 1% chance, if he's not drawn in the lottery, the highest he'll pick is 10th, which would be last out of all the teams that make the playoffs. So, anyway, hope that makes a little bit of sense. As you can see here, I ran this program 100 times, and this is just to prove that I'm not cheating. And this is an order of worst to best teams. As you can see, out of 100 times, 007 had the top pick 28 times, which was the most, and he fell in the top 365 times out of 100, which was more than anybody else. And it just goes right down the line, up down to Duke, who only got in the top 3 twice out of 100, which would be just about what you would expect. So over the long run, things even out, but this isn't done over the long run. This is done once, so anything can happen, and that's the exciting part of a draft lottery. So my hope is that this will discourage teams from tanking on purpose, as they will not guarantee a top spot, but at the same time gives them better odds at getting one of the top picks. It also gives teams that do well, that don't make the playoffs, some sort of a chance at drafting higher. So anyway, without any further ado, let's do the lottery. Alright, here we go. Having some technical difficulties, alright. See, there are your odds again. 007 25, James 20, Sheehan 16, Eric 12, Noack 9, Caleb 7, Kyle 5, Nick 3, Ryan 2, and Duke 1. Alright, the program is now calculating the draft order. I can feel the tension building in the room. Here it is. Your draft order for 2009 will go like this. Starting in 10th, Duke. Sorry, Duke. Your 1% chance did not come through. You did not get a top 3 pick. Next, in 9th, Ryan. Not much of a surprise there. Probably wasn't going to get one of the top picks anyway. 8th, Spunky, Nick. Again, no major upset there. Just keep going right down the line. 7th, Kyle. No luck for Kyle this year. The bottom 4 have all gone according to plan. Next we would expect to see Caleb. Sheehan. Whoa, that is an upset of major proportions. That means that Sheehan, Dickerson, and 007 fell out of the top 3. James is 5th. That means 007 is 4th, which means Eric, Nowak, and Caleb are all in the top 3. Wow. That is crazy. Alright, let's see where they fall. For the 3rd pick, looks like it's going to be Caleb. Not bad for only a 7% chance. Number 2 is Eric. That means this year's number 1 pick, with only a 9% chance, goes to Nowak, who he's been pretty terrible recently, but maybe this will help jumpstart his fantasy football ownership skills. I don't know. Anyway, what do you think, Prince? Prince was just licking himself, so that pretty much says it all. Alright, that's that. There's your draft order for this year. Pretty crazy. Good luck to everybody.